Hello, 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 and welcome to Women's Wisdom Wednesdays, where we come together every Wednesday to empower women just like you, foster connections, and thrive on our journey of surviving womanhood. I'm Casey Conrad, well-being specialist and whole life coach. And I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to continue sharing inspirational stories and providing support for women over 40. Your engagement and support have made this journey possible, and I look forward to continuing to bring you more empowering content. Today, we have a very special guest joining us for her repeat visit. We always love to have you here, Rania October, and she has an incredible story to share. But before we introduce Rania, let's take a moment to address you, our wonderful audience. We want to remind you to visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.com, where you can find valuable resources, connect with like-minded women, and stay updated on our upcoming episodes, webinars, and workshops. And we encourage you to actively participate by asking questions and adding comments. And if you have a story to share, we would love to hear it. This is a safe space for us to learn and grow together. We'd also like to ask you to share your favorite episodes. You never know who out there might need to hear these inspiring stories. Now, let's meet Rania. Hello, Rania. Welcome back.
Hey,
It's so good
how
to
are you,
see
Casey?
you.
Always good to be with you here, Casey.
We are thrilled to have Rania returning as a guest with us today. Rania is a master in education, and her journey is nothing short of inspiring. From starting her career as an English language lecturer to transforming into a happiness educator, emotional intelligence coach, soft skills trainer, and Reiki healer. Rania has truly embraced every chapter of her life with wisdom, compassion, and endless energy. Her vibrant journey is a testament to the power of growth and self-discovery. Rania's work today reflects her passion for helping others unlock their potential, navigate emotional intelligence, and heal from within. We are honored to have you back, Rania, to share more insights, reflections, and wisdom with our amazing Surviving Womanhood community. Shall we get started?
Oh, yes. Come on,
Oh,
let's do it.
let's do it. Your journey has spanned many areas, from education to emotional intelligence and energy healing. How has your shift into holistic wellness and whole life coaching allowed you to better support women over 40?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here, Casey. I'm always glad to be here to help out and to share everything that I've learned throughout my journey.
We
So,
love it.
well, let's just state a very feminine-oriented trait. We love to share our stories together.
Yes.
Women sit together, share their stories, share their challenges, their emotions, their thoughts. Well, we were created like that because this is what helps us nurture our kids, provide the environment where they can grow, where the kids themselves can discover their own emotions, thoughts, identity, and we help them grow through this interaction. So we are created like that. When I entered into this holistic wellness and whole life coaching, and this helped me get the methodologies. This helped me analyze what we say to one another, analyze how we can divide advice into steps and how to modify the steps and customize them according to the personality of each one. So when you enter into this field, you don't really enter into something that's completely new. No, because this is a trait, it's inbuilt, but it helps you see it in a methodic way. It helps you help others understand it through
Mhm.
customized ways. Okay, so this is how it helped me.
Nice. Wonderful. As a happiness educator and emotional intelligence coach, what specific practices or strategies can women over 40 use to nurture emotional well-being and maintain joy while managing personal and professional transitions, as we are all going through in this time, right? It's a constant,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Um, an important strategy would be setting your alarm clock like every hour to ask yourself the question, how am I doing? How am I feeling? If I stop what I'm doing right now, am I okay? You know, the word just asking if you're okay is very important because a lot of us just we ride an express train that goes and tries to reach stations, and sometimes it doesn't even rest at the station. You know, it's like it touches base and it moves on. So taking that time, making stations, imposing stations on your journey, and taking the time to ask yourself, how am I feeling? Am I okay? Okay, okay, let's move on. If I'm not okay, why am I not okay? Although I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, although I'm at the place where I'm supposed to be. So,
Mm-hmm.
questioning yourself, understanding yourself, um, questioning why, for example, if today I'm doing something and it doesn't feel right, although yesterday I was doing the same thing at the same time and it felt right. So there might have some growth might have happened, some modification,
Mm-hmm.
internal modification might have happened that has affected how you perceive and how you react to a repetitive circumstance or situation. You know, those people call them silly, but they're not silly. People call them tiny, but they're actually building up,
Mm.
even if they're tiny things.
Yes, I think I find, and this is a theme that I have been repeating recently, that we get, I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that checking in with ourselves is important. And I think we get caught up in that that stigma, that expectation that we should be being productive, right? And productive in a way that's external,
That's the
not
point.
right.
That's the
Exactly.
point.
And if
Yes,
we are not being productive, I'm air quoting that because to me that's just busy work sometimes. That's just that's just going through motions to appease others' expectation. So at the end of the day, we can say, "Oh, I did X, Y, and Z. Aren't you proud of me for, completing so many tasks?" And then my question to them, especially with clients, when they're listing to me when I ask them how productive they were, listing the tasks that they finished, washing dishes, doing laundry, spoke to 4 clients, whatever. Then I say, how personally productive were you? How much time did you spend on yourself, on your own needs? Did you take a walk for even 5 minutes? Did you stand out in nature for 5 minutes or so? Did you just take some time to breathe and check in, as you said? Because to me, that's personal productivity. And that type of productivity builds us up so much more, and it fills up our tanks, right? So as opposed to that external productivity that can be draining. Yeah, especially when we're doing it as expected.
You know, Casey, a point comes to mind right now. When you're doing something external, you are given a bar, you are given a product to produce.
Yes.
Okay, so and the product has a certain state that it should reach, and you are working towards that state for the product, you know, and when you reach it, when the product itself has reached that state of formation, of modification, of whatever ation there is, now you have achieved.
Right.
But the point is that sometimes we don't have the same um, achievement orientation of ourselves.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't really know what state you should be in.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't work towards that,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Because we're taking our cues from outside.
Yeah. So if I ask you, for example, Casey, how would you like to be?
Mm.
What state would you like to reach? And that is the state towards which you should be productive.
Yes.
If you reach that state, you have achieved internally,
Right.
personally. But that's the point. We start off our day, our days, our life with specific targets,
Mhm.
external states, even you can call personal achievement of buying a car, of having a house with certain specifications, of finding a partner with certain,
Yes,
character and
definitely. Yes.
specifications, of achieving your own personal academic degrees. And a lot of people would call that personal achievements. So when
Right.
you say, were you productive personally? Of course, I was productive personally. I
Look at
spent
my
the whole
stuff.
day, yeah, I spent the whole day working and I got the car. I spent the whole day studying and I got my degree. But that's not the internal productivity, as you mentioned, because
Right.
not everybody sits with themselves and ask themselves, what state would I like to reach? State
Right.
of mental well-being, state of emotional well-being, state of physical well-being, state of spiritual well-being, a sense of identity, you know? So all
Yes.
those things are maybe even social state, like having a society, a tribe, what we call a tribe,
Right. Yes.
having a
Those
circle of
moments.
friends,
Hmm.
having a family, a connected family.
Right.
All of those are emotionally related and mentally related and spiritually related. So if I have that state, I can question myself throughout the day. Well, I don't feel well, so that's not the state I was supposed to reach.
Hmm.
Let's stop. What can I do productively to take me there? At
Hmm.
the end of the, yeah, before going to sleep, I like very much to question myself, ask the question of, have I been productive today? And what kind of productivity exactly?
Hmm.
Have I done something good for myself? Have I done something good for somebody else? So if I say yes to both, that's a productive day for me.
Yes, 100%. And I think this is if the women out there, people out there, whomever is listening, this is something that I think is very important to take away from today's program, that doing something for ourselves and doing something for others that allows us to feel good about ourselves, that allows us to feel cared for by ourselves, right? and
That's a
that
beautiful word.
we have paid that forward by sharing that care and nurturing with someone else, even one person, right? Then we've had a very good day. As you said, that day was full on productive. And all of
I
those,
love the word, sorry, go
that's
ahead.
okay. Yeah.
I love the word care.
Mm,
Care,
yes.
did I care for me?
Mhm.
Because care means that you're important.
Yes.
Care means that you're precious. Care means that you mean something
Yes.
to
And
yourself,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah,
care is a beautiful word,
yes.
really.
And that brings me to the next question. Perfect segue. In your experience working with women over 40, how do your energy healing practices like Reiki and how do they complement the whole life coaching that you do, helping women discover their purpose and reconnect with themselves? How have you been able to incorporate Reiki into your coaching practice?
Okay, let me also add that I've added a bit of biogeometry to the equation, to the formula of
I love
energy.
that. Love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm into the idea of becoming a power spot, becoming a moving power spot. So the more I nurture myself, the more energy is fresh and moving and creative and compassionate and all the healing aspects of energy I fill myself with, and I keep myself open for others to benefit from, of course, by taking care of protecting myself, of course, from anything that can invade. But I mean, just being out there, nurturing myself, opening myself up for people who need this in itself establishes a safe space for people who sit with me, whether professionally or socially or on a friendly basis or whatever. I'm taking this more of a life mission than a profession, really.
Mhm.
So this is the first step. So when somebody comes in, sits with me, they feel safe, inshallah, يعني, God willing.
Yep,
That's
yep.
my intention through my energy. And they feel safe, not just physically safe, but safe to open up, even to themselves. I have heard so many times, so many times, expression of Rania, I've never even said this to myself. I don't know how I'm saying it now with somebody right in front of me. So
Mhm.
my answer is always because it's a safe space. I'm
Yeah.
providing a safe space, and many people who have trapped emotions, who have trapped traumas, they feel scared of facing them on their
Mm.
own. So when you are out there with this compassionate energy, with this safe space that you provide, with this healing intention, um, and their higher self feels that now they can start experimenting, facing bits of the trauma or bits of themselves that were too scary to face alone. Now there is
Yeah.
somebody by their side. It helps a lot. I
And
mean,
I
I'm
think,
sure you know.
yeah, I think this is a really good description of whole life coaching. Um, and I've been a whole life coach for years, right? Years and years. And people would say, why do you say whole life coach? Why not just life coach? And my explanation is not as eloquent as yours, but basically because I I take into consideration the entire person from an holistic point of view, right? because when one part of a person's life is out of balance or off kilter, there's no part of their life that can be in balance. So, and I have a lot of respect for coaches who specialize in business coaching or relationship coaching, and bless them for doing that work, because it's very important work. And they are solely focused on that aspect of that client's world.
Yes.
Whereas coaches like you and I, who do a whole life coaching, we focus on our clients as whole, like all aspects of their lives, working to guide them to their own choices, their own awareness of how one part of their life affects the other, and how taking just a little bit of time and effort in this area is going to improve all of the other areas, and so on. And being able to allow people to feel that safe space, being able to just sit and understand where they are. There's no judgment, there's no expectation, that it's just a place for them to find their own answers. Answers that we know they already have. They've just not been giving the space to find them,
Exactly. The space and time.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yes. So honestly, I love that. So for
Well,
women,
and yeah.
yeah,
Besides
women,
that, of course, the aspect of opening up the chakras as the blockages, if they're unable to express themselves.
true.
So being within a healing aura, a healing field, helps open those chakras and helps them express somehow, what has been blocked for so long.
I read something today that was so well put, and I had never intellectualized it exactly like this, but once I read it, it made so much sense to me. It was talking about, not to get too deep into the complementary weeds here, but talking about blockages in the throat chakra. And as adults who have a difficult time communicating or expressing themselves fully, uh, in a way that others can understand what they're wanting to say, has been because of things that have happened in their past, beginning in their childhood. And I know you do a lot of work with people about, coming from their childhoods, but to talk about when they were younger being stifled, like not being able to be part of making their own decisions, not being able to express themselves in a way that anybody would listen, because they were meant to feel that they were not important, that they had no value, their opinions or input had no value. And I'm not going to take too long on this, but you get the point, right?
Is
So
that the point?
it's almost like their tongues got folded back. So this visual of a child having their tongue folded back because what they had to say had no value stuck with them into adulthood. And so now, this always being stuffed in creates this blockage in the throat chakra. So now they have all of this crap that they have to move out before they can actually fully and completely express themselves. Does that make sense?
Well, of course, very well said. I would like to just add a bit that some other people might have an extraordinary talent in expressing, but not themselves.
Yes.
So their tongue is redirected
Mm-hmm.
rather than being bent
Yes,
backwards.
exactly.
They were told to use it as a skill in achieving something, but not in order to express how they feel.
Yes.
So
Yes.
a lot of layers. There are a lot of layers,
Yes.
truly.
So, but that I just found that, that woof, that just kind of like when I read that, that hit me and went, that makes so much sense.
And by the way, a lot of expression can be not through the tongue, maybe
Hmm,
through drawing, maybe through expressing through their bodies.
right.
So whatever kind of expression was stopped or prevented, the blockage happens.
Right.
It, yeah, a
So, which is
handicapping.
something we work on, right? Which is
Yeah, of
something we work on.
course.
So, for women in midlife, like me,
Like me.
who might feel stuck or hesitant to make a significant life change, what practical advice can you offer to help them take the first step towards personal growth and transformation?
Well, that's a very good question because I have met so many women who are stuck, so many. And in the beginning, I would, try and impassion them. I would try and I don't know. Sometimes I would be professional, but sometimes if they're my relatives or they're my friends, I would sort of provoke, and I know their ways, so I would tell them words and stuff that would somehow provoke them.
Mm,
But the more I grow, the more I grow more compassionately towards how they feel and their true situation and their true internal situation rather than their external situation.
mhm,
So the more you learn, the more you grow, the more compassionate you become. Of course, there is this rule, the golden rule: you never push anybody, you never give advice. It's
right.
it's, it's just providing safe space, helping helping someone discover, rediscover, because everything is inside. But I mean, to rediscover what are the ingredients that are inside and they're in stock.
Mhm.
Uh, but
Asking the right questions.
that was what I was going to say.
Mhm,
Asking yourself, what am I paying? What am I getting?
right. What's the
How
reward? What's the reward for my staying stuck?
and how much am I paying?
Yes.
What is the price? How high is it? And
Mhm.
how high or low is the product that I am purchasing?
And is it worth it?
Yeah, the comparison between cost and benefit
Right.
is extraordinary.
Yes.
Um, and the second point is do and redo and redo and redo the calculations every single day, every
Yes.
single week, every single month, you know, repetitively. Because believe it or not, we change on a daily basis. We change on a momentarily basis. I mean, we are
Mhm.
all about change and growth. So what worked a week ago might not work today.
I
Uh,
think it brings us full circle, right, to what we were saying before. At the end of the day, how productive was I,
sure,
right? Today.
sure.
Yeah,
But again, the criteria of productivity can change from one day to another. And
exactly.
the state that I want per day can
Mhm,
change. Maybe today I want to be joyful.
mhm,
I have this tendency to be joyful. What have I contributed to become joyful? Maybe today I just want some comfort.
mhm,
Yesterday was a big deal, so today maybe I need to be relaxed.
mhm.
And there is this advice that I would advise people. I know to a lot of people this might sound so lame and so unproductive, but really, when you are overwhelmed with emotion or confusion, or you don't know what's going on, because that point in time will lead you to one of your addictions. Either
Mhm.
you're going to head towards the refrigerator, you're going to head towards that person you swore you'd never contact anymore, you'd head towards that bottle or that cigarette, or
Right.
in this overwhelm of emotion and thoughts, go and have a nap. Literally,
I
go
100, mhm.
go have a nap.
I 100% agree. I literally just had this conversation with my sister-in-law who she has been, bless her, but she has been a huge advocate of napping for years, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and honestly, I somehow in my conditioning, I would think, oh, I just can't nap. I won't get enough done, right? This is my conditioning
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I won't be productive enough
Yeah,
if I
you'll be
take
losing
a nap.
time.
And now I look at that, and I literally in my lectures I use taking a nap as a prime example of personal productivity, because that nap, if it's 15 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes or whatever the nap is for you, that is so filling for us, right? It allows us to recuperate in a way that makes us now ready, and we are actually much more productive, because when we are running on empty, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in, you are not going to do a good job. So however productive you are in that time, it's going to be low quality product.
You're burning out.
Yes.
It's like pressing on the fuel, on of a car, pressing, 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 and not going anywhere. You're
Mhm.
getting burnt out.
Yes,
So
yes.
I believe napping is your garage.
Good. I love that you first of all brought up napping, and I'm loving this analogy that you're making.
Yes. Oh, yes. I would have said is your hospital.
Mm,
You go overwhelmed with all those mechanical and emotional and mental overwhelms, and then you enter into that state where
mm,
your own internal doctors, the ones in your brain, they take care of your brain, the ones in your hands take care of your hands, the ones in your tummy, you have
yeah,
doctors
yeah,
all over you, and you
right.
healers. You just go give them their time, give them their moment. All right. Just let go. Or you can take the other analogy that you're taking your car to the garage instead of while you're staying where you are, you're burning it out.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that truly is a very good strategy. I advise everybody. Napping is never, ever loss of time or productivity. It is you many times I have entered into this napping state and woken up a completely different person. It's as if I have moved from one dimension to another. Those holes between one dimension and the other? I swear, I would be one person overwhelmed, don't know what to do, and then I take that nap. I press myself to the pillow. You know what I say? You're gonna just stick to the pillow. You're gonna take your nap, and I wake up somebody completely different. And
I
nothing
love that.
happens. Nothing. The world goes on. Nothing has happened.
My husband is so happy that my thoughts about napping have come so far, 180 degrees now,
Yeah.
because he's always also been a napper, and he can nap for like 15, 20 minutes and he is like up and ready to go. It's like plugging in your phone for 15 minutes.
Exactly. And by the way, there is no place and there is no time specific to napping.
Right.
Anywhere, even, you know what? Even if you're not overwhelmed,
Hmm.
if you find a moment where there's nothing really to do, just, go to the garage.
Yeah,
Mm,
because it's either that or doom scroll, right?
or
Like just
what?
doom scrolling, like
Ah,
scrolling on your phone through all the social media
or
silliness.
scrolling back into things that you should not go back to,
Exactly,
or
exactly.
worrying
So
about something that hasn't come yet.
yes, napping is so much more productive than any of those things. So yes, so yay. So all of you people out there listening to us right now, you have our permission to take a nap whenever you feel,
Exactly.
except when you're driving.
Yeah, that's the exception.
Yes, but napping is a wonderful way to replenish and recharge yourself. So please don't feel guilty about that. Feel like you are caring for yourself.
Definitely care.
Yes,
Words,
yes,
magic words.
yes. So Rania,
Yes.
what role does emotional intelligence play in whole life coaching? And how can developing this skill empower women over 40 to create more meaningful connections and lead to more fulfilling lives?
Okay, so emotional intelligence has so many competencies, but 6 Seconds organization has eight competencies that are formed into steps. Um, they are just like the cognitive behavioral therapy steps.
Mhm.
And those steps will always help you in any situation. Okay, so emotional intelligence will help you every time you face any internal or external challenge. Let me just mention the 8 steps, which are the 8 competencies. Number one is emotional literacy, understanding and giving a name to the emotion that you're feeling. That is the basis and a big percentage of solving any problem in your life. Giving it a name. Just like when you have some pain in your body and you say, it's in the stomach. It's a stomach ache, or it's a toothache, or it's a headache, you know? So giving it the name, the correct name. I'm confused, or I'm hurt, or I'm worried, or I'm jealous, or um I'm joyful, or I'm comfortable and relaxed, or the word. Okay. So
Yeah,
emotional literacy.
I want to interject something here to
Sure,
make this for people who are not so familiar with emotional intelligence. Before we move on to the second competency,
sure.
because there are people out there, and I know quite a few, and I'm sure you also do, who have a very difficult time sorting out the differences in certain emotions like frustration, anger, sadness, confusion. Some people feel that all of these emotions, they are expressed as anger.
Mm-hmm.
So can you just touch briefly on how they can start to sort that out?
Okay, let's explain that anger is very close to frustration.
Mhm.
When you get frustrated, when it's like electricity clogged within a wire. It's frustrated, it's angry, it just explodes. Okay, but if you know what type of electric what do you call it, let's
Right?
I can't remember the word, electric power,
Yeah.
maybe.
Or
Yeah,
current,
or
the
electric
current.
charge. Yeah, if you
Mhm.
know the quality and the quantity of the electricity, an explosion wouldn't happen. Because if you know what's going on with your body, the body would not turn into pathological malfunction. We always say it starts with psychology, then physiology, then pathology. When you are a bit worried, and then you have cramps in your tummy, and then you have a permanent stomach ache, or something starts to become pathological. So when you understand whether you are confused, confused means you need more further clarification. If you're worried, it means that you need somebody to, what is the word? To
Reassure.
reassure you. Yeah, exactly. So maybe if you're worried, you need to make a few phone calls, for somebody to give you the answer, for somebody to tell you, oh, no, 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 rest assured, it's fine. I have proof that it's okay. If you're jealous, maybe you need to have a conversation. Maybe your partner or the one you care for is going to explain something that you misunderstood. If you're hurt, maybe a few questions would clarify the situation, you know? So each thing has its cure. But if you leave it ununderstood, unanalyzed, and then it grows into frustration and grows into anger, when explosion happens, pieces are thrown all over and things are destroyed, situations are destructive, relationships are damaged, words that are said that should never have been said because they were not given the correct timing to write, to correctly express what they were meant to express. Some rawness would enter into the equation. So back to your question, which is, how would understanding your emotion prevent us from going towards anger and the destructive aspect of anger? Diluting the feeling, diluting it by giving it a name. When you give it a name, you take the time, you take a few seconds to digest what's going on, so the emotion is diluted. The emotion, the effect, the chemical effect of an emotion is 4 to 8 seconds. So usually that's why the 6 seconds organization was called 6 seconds as an average between 4 seconds and 8 seconds. So if you take those 4 to 6 seconds, I took the 4 seconds. I didn't speak for four, and you didn't notice. It's like I was just, taking my time. It dilutes your emotion. It sends whatever sense of what you're feeling a little bit higher into your cognition, into your cognitive level of thinking, and more resources are incorporated in order to process the information, process the situation, come up with the best analysis and attitude you should adopt, coming up with the best words you should be using to express how you feel and how you think, and maybe even not express, taking time to just be silent. Maybe your silence would be better. So all this dilution of your emotion would really save so many situations that went off balance,
The way that
damage
I
a lot of
describe this,
relations.
the suggestions I make to my clients, also to my grandchildren, are that 4 to 8 seconds, take 2 full deep breaths. And by that time, before you say anything, when you feel the trigger, take 2 full deep breaths in and out. And by that time, 4 to 8 seconds has passed. And now instead of reacting, now you can respond.
Sure, because you're decreasing the levels of
Yes.
cortisol.
Because of that dilution, right?
Yeah,
So we decrease, as you said, like biologically speaking, physiologically speaking, we dilute that creation of cortisol and all of the adrenal
Yes,
chemicals that are shot out when that trigger happens, right?
because the trigger says there is danger.
Yes,
So when
exactly.
you take the breaths physiologically, that's the
Mhm.
reaction of being safe.
Yes,
So you are telling your body, I have time to breathe, then I'm safe. There is no danger. Let's move to a higher level of thinking. So
yes,
that's a brilliant way, taking 2 breaths.
yes.
That's a brilliant way.
So let's move on now. That's wonderful explanation. Thank you so much. So let's go on to the rest. So starting with number 2.
Okay, so emotional literacy is giving name to the emotion. Number 2 is recognizing patterns. So I have given the name to the emotion. It is worry, for example. Recognize the pattern. How many times do I worry? Is that a pattern in my life? Or just today that was not the normal. That was the exception. I usually do not worry. But if it is the normal, let's take it as a cause and effect situation. What caused the worry? And
Mhm.
when you worried, what did you do? What was the effect? Okay, so recognizing that this is a recurrent emotion and recognizing the pattern of that emotion. What triggers it? How you feel it? Where do you feel it in your body? And what this affects? What is the effect of this emotion? Okay, when you recognize that pattern, the next time you have the same emotion, you are conscious of the steps of this pattern. So in the beginning, it was an autopilot. It starts, takes off, and you realize it after it's done. But once you know the steps, you can sometimes stop it. In time, you get this control, the skill of controlling where to stop. All right. So, emotional literacy, recognizing patterns. Okay. So, I have recognized my pattern and I like it. Then I'll leave it. It works for me. But maybe I don't like it. Then I move to the third step, consequential thinking. If I stay with this pattern, what is the cost? What is the benefit? Is the cost more or the benefit more? So, consequential thinking, understanding the consequences of having a certain pattern of behavior. And then once I reach the decision that no, I would like to change, the cost is much more than the benefit. That's not what I want. I want something else. Should I completely lose my emotions? No, we call not losing emotions, but rather navigating emotions because it's a power, it's
Mhm.
energy. Don't lose it. So take that energy and just understand where you want to navigate it. Instead of after worrying, I'd go and move towards the refrigerator and finish up all the food because of my worry. Maybe I'll navigate it towards the phone. I will call that person who might have the answer and I would push myself a little bit, you know, be bolder and ask the right questions with the same energy. And then, in order to navigate emotions and sustain that navigation, you have to have motivation. Why do I want to do this? Why do I really want to make all this change? What motivates me? So motivation is step number 5. Okay.
Yep.
And especially intrinsic motivation. We are not interested in extrinsic motivation, external motivation, because he will say, or she will say, or I will be rewarded that way, or, I will be promoted that way, or no, because external motivation changes all the time and its value changes
Mhm.
and it might vanish and it is a controller. Motivation is your controller. So if the controller is outside of you, that's a dangerous thing. So internal motivation. What's going to benefit me from inside? How is this going to help me become a better person? How is this going to help me become stronger, grow, have life within my control, pave my way towards what I want to accomplish or how I want to be. Then there's optimism. That's number 6. Because without optimism, we're not going to do anything. You know, if you have I always have the analogy of the car. Motivation is your fuel, but optimism is the go sign, is the, if I
Like
don't
a
have
turbocharger,
optimism,
right? Like a
pardon?
turbocharger, like a
Yeah,
turbocharger.
I mean, if you prepare your car, everything is set, everybody's inside, and then you say, but you know what? Maybe if I use my car and I get out of the garage or get out of my parking space, it's gonna rain, or there will be a storm, or a pole, an electric pole is gonna fall onto my car, or I'm going to have an accident, or whatever will happen. Okay, so if you think like that, you will never move. You'll
Mhm.
stay where you are, no matter how prepared you are. You're just going to stay where you are. But also there is this other point that we say, we don't just want an unrealistic optimism, we want a realistic optimism. So a realistic optimism is taking the risks into consideration, but always having plan A, plan B, plan C, plan Z. All right. And understanding exactly what would be the risks and finding out how you're going to deal with them. Then we have number 7, which is empathy. So now I've got my car, it's charged, I know where I'm going, I have this navigated emotion, I understand how to drive, I can call my own emotions, I can, all right, now I need to understand, is there somebody going to ride with me? When I move with my car, will I be alone on the road? No, there will be other cars. So I have to always have this empathy, that external radar, external of me, outside myself, that is going to tell me how I'm going to affect other people with whatever decisions I take. That doesn't mean that I don't take my decisions, but it
Mhm.
means taking your decisions, being aware of what's going on, what's going to happen, and how it's going to affect others. And that's another consequential thinking that you need to reconsider, where sometimes the cost and benefit might change your opinion, and sometimes the cost and benefit might reassure you and reinforce your decision.
So
Last,
this, I want to go, I'm sorry, before you go to number 8, I just want to tell you what I'm hearing.
yeah,
So on each step, we are going to evaluate, and then we are going to refer back to the steps previously to reevaluate, right? So to make sure that we are making that connection all the way from 1 to 8, right? And sometimes
sure.
we need to go back and make some adjustments for this and this to agree or align.
Sure. I mean, emotional literacy should be taken into consideration all the way, even when you are, for example, asking yourself, what is my motive? How does my motive feel?
Mhm. Yes.
What I'm going to navigate towards that target. Well, will my pattern of behavior be repeated when I navigate towards there?
Mhm.
Okay, so my empathy says that this is going to affect other people in that way. Am I still motivated?
Mhm.
Are
Right.
others are my motivation, for example? You
Yes.
reconsider, you recalculate.
Right.
Um, Empathy is a challenging skill because
Mm.
we say that there is empathy towards self and towards others. Most of the people use empathy towards others, but empathy should be both ways. When I'm always considering others, am I considering myself also? Because believe it or not, the doer here is I.
And again,
So
what is the motivation? What is the motivation for um, showing this empathy toward others, but not showing empathy toward myself? Like,
very good question. Why am I not showing it towards myself?
yes, and that becomes a pattern too sometimes, right?
That's a very important question. The question of why am I not showing empathy towards myself?
Right.
It will take you to the care question
Mhm.
that we talked about before,
Yes.
the
Mhm.
importance, the self-importance, the self-preciousness, the
Yes.
self meaningfulness. And that also takes us to number 8, the noble goal. What do I want to have done on this earth when my time has come, when my time comes?
Mhm.
What
Yep.
do I want to uh, look back onto? You know, I have done that. I'm glad that I had a hand in doing this and that. And so the noble goal is a destination, and it changes all the time, by the way.
Mhm.
So although it is a star that's shining, giving me direction, we should never ever lose track of our road, because sometimes while you keep on looking onto the star, you falter, you get hurt, you know, you enter into paths that you should not have entered because you only looked towards the direction rather than towards the direction and the road, you know. You
Yes.
haven't checked your feet. You should check your feet. You should
And that
check.
goes back to that holistic, right? Being holistically aware.
Yes. So, and also being realistic and optimistic and motivated and, you know, in your right state of emotions, and finding out what the state, finding out whether that star is going to preserve that internal state of being that you always want to be, because sometimes people throw that for that, you know, or throw this for that. So noble goal is very important. It gives meaning to your life. It gives meaning to every breath you take. It makes you want to wake up in the morning, you know, because
Yes.
there is something that you're going to be a part of. It gives you a sense of being, of existence. But on the other hand, make sure that that noble goal is truly yours, is well adjusted to how you are, is you were created for it. Don't choose a noble goal that has nothing to do with you
Mhm.
just because other people say it's good.
Right. Again, it's all internal, right? It's like,
Always check your emotions.
mm,
How do you feel about it?
mm,
How are you feeling each step of the way? Are you still motivated? Is it still worth it? Is the cost more or the benefit more? Are you going to lose people because you want to go there? And is losing those people okay? Because you believe it or not, some people are worth losing.
yes. And sometimes people just come into our lives for a short time, and
Yeah,
that's how it's meant to be, right? And then they'll just organically leave.
yeah, and it's okay to take breaks.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's okay to lose sight of the stars sometimes because
Yes.
maybe you were meant to move that way for some time and then move towards another way some other time. So these are the 8 steps of emotional intelligence for 6 seconds organization. And they have helped me tremendously, truly.
Mm.
Whenever I would face a situation where I'm uncertain of how to deal with it, I would sit, how am I feeling? How does this feeling affect me? What does it usually make me do? What is the cost? What is the benefit? What if I change it into something else? What is the cost? What is the benefit? Okay, so I'm going to navigate it towards that. Why? What motivation will keep me going towards that choice that I made? Okay, so that's the motivation. I keep it in mind. How do I become optimistic realistically? By, okay, if I go there, if I do that action, the risks are so and so and so. What am I going to do about them? How is this new change in me going to affect other people? What if I don't do it? How am I going to feel? Does all this serve my noble goal? Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. Great. Wonderful. Great talk. So before we wrap up, I just want you to briefly state what is whole life coaching to you and why should all women over 40 find a whole life coach?
I'm not sure if all of them need a whole life coach because sometimes God blesses somebody with their own internal whole life coach. But truly, you always, first of all, you feel you're not alone. You
Mhm.
really feel you're not alone. And I will not say believe it or not because I'm sure you believe it. We inherently we don't want to be alone. Nobody wants to be alone. But it's also hard to expose yourself. So sharing will have a bit of exposure, self-exposure. So when you start sharing and exposing yourself, I'd rather that you do it with somebody who is professional because you're opening up. So you need to open up safely without being hurt and opening up beneficially and opening up efficiently and for the best results and the best duration, you know? So all of this will be with somebody who is professional, who's been there, who knows how it feels, who can understand where you stand, how you feel, who can help you see you internally so that you save time, you know? So this professional person is of great help. You might replace that professional person with just moving on with your own journey in life and having unprofessional people come in and each one will give you a bite, a bit, a tip, a piece of advice. It's going to take a very long time. You're going to reinvent the wheel, but maybe that's your journey.
Yep. And also, I would also like to let people know that it's very, there are different ways, varying ways of having coaching, right? There are groups, and some people are much more comfortable in a group. And this
Yeah.
is the ultimate in letting you know you are not alone because you come into a group of people who are experiencing similar things to you, and I like to bring groups together that have some shared life experience, so they already start, so you would already come in and start with something in common, and so you have a shared experience which creates an immediate connection. And
Yes.
so, I think that it's important for people to understand that. And I'm not sure, are you still doing groups?
I'm doing it socially. I'm doing it, I'm instilling this sense of support, but it's not explicit,
Mhm.
you know? So I'm
Yeah.
doing some community work where I'm getting people to have to play together, to sing together, to go out together, to even seniors. I've started a group for seniors where they meet together. Um, Everybody before getting into those groups, they felt alone. You know, life now,
Yes,
the rhythm of life, the style of life doesn't get you in contact with other people other than at work. And work is full of stress and full of agendas.
yes,
You can't really get
definitely.
exposed, you know, and release and express yourself safely.
Right.
So having this community groups and community activities uh, that are those are support groups um, with a healing agenda, with a support.
Definitely. That's lovely. That's lovely. So great talk. Again, it's always wonderful to have you. I just want to take a moment, and all of you listening, take a moment to appreciate Rania for sharing her
Thank you.
inspiring story and all of her wonderful information. I know that you are going to take something from today that is going to help you. And Rania, your strength and contribution are truly remarkable.
Thank you, Casey, for having me again.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure and an honor as usual.
And we'll have you back in season 6, of course.
Definitely, I'm looking forward.
Definitely. So,
Inshallah.
to our wonderful audience, if you've been touched by Ranya's story, we invite you to leave a comment, share your own story, suggest future topics or guests, and actively engage with the surviving womanhood community. And please remember to mark your calendar and join us for our next Women's Wisdom Wednesdays episode on October 23rd, when we'll have the privilege of meeting with 4 lovely ladies who are single and have all decided to move into their retirement to Thailand. And it's a wonderful story, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. So, again, Rania, your journey serves as always as an inspiration to us, and you share the most fascinating information, and it's always helpful. So,
Thank you, Casey.
thank you so much. Thank you. And to catch up on any of our Women's Wisdom Wednesdays episode that you may have missed, please visit our website at www.survivingwomanhood.com and click on podcasts. And remember, together, let's face every challenge, rise above adversity, and support one another on our journey of surviving womanhood. See you next time. Thank you, Rania. It's been
Thank you,
lovely,
Casey.
lovely, lovely to have you.
Always a pleasure, Casey. Thank you so much.
Take care. I'll see you.
Bye bye.
Bye.